Hi, welcome to Datastage demo class. This is a demo class in which we'll be trying to understand what are the topics that we are covering in the Datastage training that we are conducting, and also we'll try to understand what will be our confidence level or where we will stand after the training is completed. We will also understand. We'll also discuss like how the training is going to happen. So, what will be the mode of the training that will be happening. So let's understand what are the topics that you are going to cover in this Datastage demo class. So first of all, we'll be covering data warehouse. To start with, we'll start with data warehouse. It will not be complete information or the in-depth information about data warehouse because that's again a complete topic which will take lots of time. But the reason we put some information about data warehouse over here is uh, sometimes we found that people or students who are trying to learn data stage for their career growth, they have limited understanding about data warehouse. They are sometimes they are not even clear about why they are using data stage in data warehousing or what is the role of data stage in data warehousing. So if we found that if with that limited knowledge, it's very difficult for someone to learn data stage and implement the best practices of data stage for the in their projects and and implement the same in their career growth. So that is the reason we had a small information about data warehouse, close to 1.5 hour, wherein I will give them the clear understanding about what is data warehouse and why data stage is useful when you're talking about data warehouse, where it comes handy in creating data warehouse basically. So that's about it. That's the main idea about having data warehouse. Thereafter, we'll understand what is data stage, right? So when I talk about what is data stage, actually data stage is a small software or is a software in a bigger IBM suite package, which is IBM Infosphere Information Server. So in that server suite, it's a package. That software also contains the suite software also contains softwares like Business Glossary, Metadata Workbench, uh, uh, Information Analyzer, Federation Server, Data Stage, Quality Stage, right? So there are 8 to 10 softwares that comes as a part of IA suite package. Data Stage is one of that, right? And it depends on the license version that you got from IBM. You will get the softwares or the access to the software's installation, right? So here we'll try to understand what is the part of each and every software. Just an overview we are trying to give, not in detail about each software of ISU, but an overview. The reason is we sometimes it so happens that when you're working in a company and you're working on data stage, so somebody in a team, people maybe talking about metadata workbench or information analyzer, and if you have no idea completely at all about it, it's like a blank space in front of them, and it does not look nice. So that is the reason we'll give you some idea about all those softwares, like what are they used for, where can they be used, so that we can at least have some information we can talk about it in the project, right? Thereafter, we'll go about understanding the architecture of the suite, IaaS suite, which is information server suite, and data and the architecture of data stage and how they are interrelated, how they are correlated among each other, right? So we'll understand the architecture, which is one of the major, which is one of the very major object that is very important for us. The architecture helps us understand how the data stage functions in the background, right? Thereafter, we'll proceed with understanding about the installation of datastage, how datastage gets installed. So we'll be informing you the installation procedure of datastage. So like how you have to install datastage, right? And once the installation is done, so what are the different topologies that is available in which the installation can happen, like 2-tier, 3-tier, cluster and grid topologies. So what are these topologies and why they are different? What is so different about grid topology and all? So we'll talk about that, and we'll also inform you that once the installation is done, what are the necessary steps that you need to perform so that the installation starts working. Because if you're not using a cluster and grid topology, you're normally installing it in your machine, the installation procedure is very simple. It's just like going through normal process. But post installation procedure, which is this initial setup of the data stage, is something which is complex and that has to be taken care very minutely. So we'll be talking about that, so that we are trying to make an overview about about how the installation happens to our students. We are trying to make this knowledge comes to the student that okay, this is the way that we have to proceed if you want to install Datastage, right? So by now we understood what are the different topologies that is available, what are 2-tier, 3-tier cluster grid topology, and once the installation happens in whichever topology we want, uh, how can we go ahead and make some necessary initial setup so that Datastage can start functioning, right? So we are aware about now we got all those information. So now we'll proceed further and understand what is a server and a parallel job. What are the different types of Datastage job, and what is a server and a parallel job? What is the difference between server and a parallel job, right? Why is it that server jobs are getting outdated day by day, right, and parallel jobs are becoming more prominent? What is the feature that we have in parallel job, which is because of which the companies are not at all going for a server job anymore? They are actually asking to develop a parallel job. So what is so prominent feature in parallel jobs? We'll be understanding about that. So one of the prominent feature that we have in parallel job is partitioning and pipelining, which actually enables the same job to be executed in multiple instances in the sense in parallel basically. So at the same time, the same job will get executed and the performance will get enhanced because it's just like a same person, I mean, a set of tasks is being implemented by multiple people. Obviously, the time required will get reduced. So the similar concept is there, but more detailed understanding about partitioning and pipelining, the understanding to the level of clearing the concepts crystal clear. That will be giving you those informations as and when required, along with the PPTs during, I mean, as and when required. So although we have PPTs and we'll be going through PPTs when it comes to theoretical concepts, but as and when required, I'll be sharing some information opening in Excel. So suppose I want to make grid topology understanding clear. So I may have to go back, put some data figure, and based on that we have to make this topic very clear. So for that I will be using an Excel document wherein I will put some random data and I will show you okay what we are trying to understand, so that it should not be what I am talking and what you are understanding, there's a mismatch. So just to make it crystal clear, I will be using some of the documents like Excel document or maybe notepad, I will start from scratch. I'll prepare the document in front of you, and we'll make the documents and we'll make the topics, we'll use these documents to make the topic very clear to you, right? So we'll understand, similarly we'll use the same kind of thing for partitioning and pipelining, and we'll understand what are the different algorithms that is available for partitioning and pipelining concepts. And probably that will the only intention is you should be aware about each and every algorithm, right? And thereafter we'll go with Datastage administrator. So till partitioning and pipelining concept, we may be using PPTs because I don't want to miss any topic. I mean, I don't want to miss any topic that is important from giving you training on that. So we'll be going through PPTs. Be looking into the PPTs. But from this point of time, because we are more worried about looking into the theory parts are completed, so we are more worried about looking into Datastage administrator, designer, and director and how they work. So it will be a greater idea. It will be good idea if we go back and look into these softwares rather than looking through or learning through PPTs. So that is the reason you see, if you see if you see my system, I have completely Datastage installed on my machine. So that the Datastage is installed, I will be going and opening each of these object, director, designer, client, and all, and I will be showing you how those things work. I have database also installed, so I will also show you how from Datastage you will connect to database. So everything of that we'll talk about, and that will be a practical session. It's not like we'll be going through PPTs or theoretical concepts thereafter. No, it will be completely practical session. So from this point of time, everything that we'll be talking about will be practical. So I'll be opening the job, opening the stages, and then we'll proceed further. So we'll talk about Datastage administrator and we'll see what are the options. So I will open Datastage administrator during the session. We will see what are the options available, what will happen, what are those options used for, what is the utility behind it, what will happen if you select a particular choice of options, and how to proceed further on that, right? So what an administrator will do, this is something like Datastage administrator is something like only an admin will have access on Datastage administrator. But what an admin will do, if you are in a role of administrator, we need to understand what an admin will do. So we are trying to go and look into datastage administrator, and each and every object, each and every option, all the concepts should be clear in datastage administrator. Right? Thereafter, we'll go with designer and director. Okay. Now, in designer, first thing is we need to understand how to create a datastage job. What are the necessary objects that we need to start with when we are trying to create a datastage job? So for that, first thing we need is parameter sets. So we need to understand how parameter sets get created, how we have to create parameter sets or use the parameter sets properly, how we can pull environment variables, which is a section of datastage administrator, to pull in parameter set and proceed further. So that is one topic, first thing that we'll be learning. Thereafter, we will learn how to pull metadata information from the databases. Now, this is one of the most important one of the most important steps that I suggest my students to follow. The reason is, if suppose you are trying to design a job wherein you're working on a source table which has 200 columns, or maybe even if 50 columns, right? And you are you are providing the information to datastage about those columns manually. So it's quite possible that you may mistype the column name or the column properties, the column metadata and all, and that will keep on aborting the job, and it will take a lot of time for us to fix it. So why don't we follow a particular standard which will make sure that we don't create these kind of issues, and we don't waste our time on these issues. As, as one A couple of minute activities in the beginning will actually save a lot of time during the job development. So that is the reason we say the next topic after parameter set, we'll learn about importing metadata from database or a sequential file. How we can import metadata and use them while we are trying to design data stage job. So this is the second topic that we'll cover. Thereafter, we'll learn all the stages that is available in data stage parallel job. Right? We'll learn all of them. So the complete training is mainly concerned about parallel and sequential job. We are not looking into server job because I told you that it's getting outdated these days. Right? So we'll learn about all the stages that we have in parallel job, and we'll see what are the different options available in those stages, when the stages are coming as behaving as a source and when the stages are behaving as a target, how the options get changed, what is the what does an option implement, I mean a choice in that stage implement to what that implies. So we have to understand each and every option, and that is because it's a complete practical session, and we are not, there is no point we are going through the PPTs. So I'm showing things in front of you, so you can ask me if we miss any point. So my understanding about it is all the options we'll be talking about, that is there in a particular stages. So when we are trying to learn a stage, say row number generator, or remove duplicates, or copy stage, or a transformer stage, right? So when we're talking about a particular stage, we will learn about each and every option that is there in that particular stage. Right? Now the stages that we'll be covering is already there in the course content, so I don't want to talk much about that right now. So we'll be talking about each and every stage, and we'll try to understand how to create those stages, what are the different options, what happens if you select a particular option. So, and these things that we'll be talking about, I will be giving you small scenarios wherein I will say, this is my source, this is my target, how I can get from the source data, I can convert the source data into my target data. So simple situation can be, if suppose you have duplicates in your source, how will you remove duplicate and push that to the target? Or if I say that you have to push all the unique records to one output file, and all the duplicated record to another output file, how you will do that, right? So some simple scenarios I'm giving, but maybe during the training understanding, we'll be working about more scenarios, and how the different stages can be used to implement these scenarios. So something like real-time scenarios which you will be working in a project. So similar to that, we'll be trying to discuss in the class, so that while you're trying to learn the different stages, your learning curvature is based on the real-time scenarios, so that when you I mean it will be easy for you to learn things, grasp things, right? So by this, and here we'll be covering all the stages, like stages of reading a file, I mean file stages, development or debug stage, database stages, and processing stage. So all the different stages that are available, right? We'll be discussing about that in this stages development. Also, because we are trying to execute the job because we are not just using the stages and understanding what are the options. I will be compiling, executing the job in front of you, and sometime what I will do is uh, I will make a job to abort, right? So the reason of this doing this is uh, when the job will abort, we'll go to the data stage director to see the log. So what are the information that is available in the job log when the job gets aborted? How we'll predict what is the issue? So some of the normal situations that we generally get I mean we can talk about that, and I will give you information about how to find out the issues and how to proceed with that. Right. Also, we'll see if a job gets completed successfully, then how the log happens, and if a job gets aborted, then how the log appears. So, what is the difference between these two types? Even at while you're trying to design these stages and all, we'll be even looking into data stage director to see how can we stop a running job, or how can we reset a data stage job which got aborted. So, what are the different choices, different options available in data stage director? So, what is the choices that it is trying to give us? So we learn Datastage Designer Director I mean side by side, because they are correlated to each other, right? So, and once this part is done, we'll proceed with understanding about the find and advanced find options in Datastage. So sometimes it's to happen is although the find and advanced find option is very similar to what we have in Windows search option, but a simple way of understanding the usage of find option is, so if suppose you're trying to create a data stage, you have created a data stage job yesterday and somehow you forgot the name. In hurry you saved the job with some name, but you forgot the name completely, and you're working in a project wherein there are 30-40 members who are working on the same project, or maybe the project is going on for last couple of years, so obviously the project will have close to 100 to 100 jobs. Now finding the job that you're working on yesterday is a complex task, right? So then this find option comes handy with us, wherein we can with the usage of find and advanced find option, we can find out what is the job that we are working on yesterday, and that is where these things becomes very useful, right? So, and that is one of the reason why I'm trying to push this find and advanced find option in the training course content. Thereafter we'll also learn about importing and exporting of data stage job, because when we I mean in a project we may have to import and export a data stage job. So let's learn how to import and export a data stage job. And not only this, by now we might have designed some 20 at least 20-30 jobs, because we have to learn each and every stages. So I would design maybe close to 30-40 jobs, or even 20-30 or 30-40 jobs I would have designed by now in front of you during the classes. So I I also give you these DSX. The reason is when you have the DSX, so if you're trying to design your own job, if you're trying to work on your own job, so at that point of time, if you get an issue, you can go back and you can look into the way I have designed it. So you will get a reference basically. So that is the reason we give you a DSX. So I will give the DSX, so I will export the DSX. I will use the export utility, and I will train you how to import it so that you can import this DSX in your data stage versions. So it's something like a forceful learning for you about how to export and import data stage job. We'll talk about in the further classes, in the further part of the demo session. We'll talk about what are the different objects or the content that we'll be giving to you as part of the training. Right. We'll also learn about the sequencer jobs that we have in Data Stage Designer, how it is used to control the parallel or the server jobs, right? So, and what are the different stages and different choices available in sequencer jobs that we can work on. So we'll learn about them. We'll also learn about runtime column propagation, how it is used to create generic jobs in data stage, because the basic advantage of using a runtime column propagation sometimes is it helps in creating generic jobs. So how it helps in creating generic job, what is the usage, right? Now, by now we might have learned each and every object of data stage, but while we are trying to learn the corresponding object, I'll be talking about how to design a job in such a way that the jobs are designed with the best performance. So because the reason of doing it is, yeah, performance tuning is something which is an important concept, but sometimes it so happens that if you learn the stages and then you are well versed with how the stages work, and then you go back, you find that your jobs are executing very slow, then there is no point in learning that. That's of no use. Because when you have to learn something, you have to learn in such a way that it's of the best performance. So for that, you need to know when you're trying to learn a stage, then itself how to design the stage or how to use the stage so that you are designing with the best performance possible. And that is why, although we say that we are learning about a performance tuning concepts, but this performance tuning concepts, I am going to integrate it while we are learning each and every stage itself. Yeah, at the end of the session also, I'll provide you a document wherein you can learn what are the different concepts of performance tuning, right? And we can also go through that. But it's better if while we are trying to build our knowledge about each and every stage, we learn about what are the do's and don'ts that we should do and we should not do in order to enhance the performance of the job. And like also we spoke about like creating importing metadata for a database is very important. So that we don't waste our time in finding out an issue in the column names and all. So that is something called as a standard. So I will tell you what are the different standards that we have to follow. Explicit standards. So if you follow those standards, that will be it will be easy for the company business, and it will be easy for somebody who is maintaining the job in the future, right? So that is the reason we will be talking about standards. At the end, I will be giving you some close to some 20-30 scenarios or even more, right? Which the expectation from you is you have to design your data stage job I mean on those scenarios. Now, yeah, I understand that we are done with the all the topics that we are going to learn in the training. So these are all the topics that we are going to learn in the training. But and you also covered the each and every stage possible. You have the scenarios. Now the expectation from you from day one will be, or at least when we start data stage, practical sessions. So from that, at least from that, is you have to go back, look into the recordings. So yes, we'll be sharing recordings to you, which you can go back and look into. If you get any doubt in the in well, if you have any still if you still have any doubt, and so you can look into those recordings and you can find out if you have any doubts. If you have any doubt, you can look into that, get it clarified, right? I will, as I told you, I will also be giving you the DSX, right? We will be giving you the scenario questions, so the documents for the scenarios, study material if any, right? And the Excel documents that we'll be creating in order to make things clear to you, right? Excel or Notepad documents. So I'll be saving that and uploading that. So we'll be creating a Google Drive link and we'll be sharing it to you guys so that you can look into those all these objects, whatever we are talking about during the session. You can get a reference from that and you can use it if you want, right? So it's just for clearing more enhanced clarification for you. Okay. Now by now, and as I told you, the expectation is you have to go back, look into the recordings, design the job. So whatever I'm designing on a daily basis, when it comes to stages and all, the expectation is you have to implement the same, although the same requirement, but you have to implement it because you have to try. It's all about practice. The more practice you do, the more confident you get. And we are trying to give you more confidence by making things very crystal clear to you. So that is the reason if you go back, look into things, get things clarified, then probably tomorrow if you have any doubt you can ask me, right? So this is a small expectation from you. Now, where do you stand after the training gets completed? So you, after the training gets completed, because you have already spoken about the information server suite, you will have a knowledge on the information server suite. You will always also has knowledge about admin activities because we also spoke about what is datastage administrator does, how datastage installation happens in all the different topologies. That is the role of a datastage administrator. So you will have information about what an administrator does and how a datastage administrator will work. Additionally, because we are learning about how you will be designing data stage job in parallel and in designer, you will get knowledge about how what a data stage developer does. So this training is a combo pack of training you how an administrator work and how a data stage administrator and how a data stage developer work, both the things, right? We are also giving you information about do's and don'ts and the performance tuning concept so that you design your data stage job with the best performance, right? So you will be well versed with all those concepts. You will be aware about the standards and all. The best part of this training is, and provided you follow the only requirement from you is, you have to attend the class and you have to give some time after the session gets completed to design the job. Basically practice. So if you follow all those things, right? There is a, you will be confident enough to clear an interview. That is the that is something that we give you, or we say that you will be able to do it after the training is completed, right? So you have to follow this, follow what we are expecting from you, and you will be able to clear a job interview if you're looking for, or you will be able to design a, if you are working in a project, you'll be able to design a medium to complex level data stage job. So that is something that we are trying to build in you after this training, and we are expecting that if you follow the same pattern of the job development, right, so you will be able to you will be able to do clear an interview, or you will be able to do good in your project, in the working project. So that is where, that is what we are expecting from you, and that is what is the intention of the training, right? uh, yeah, as I've already told you, we'll be opening data stage job in front of you and designing the data stage job. So these are all the topics that we are going to cover, and these are all the elements that we are going to cover, and this is all about this training, right? uh, if if you have any doubts, you can we can have a discussion on that, if at all you have any doubts, right?